Joe Henshaw here again, your friendly local constitutional coop from California. And a lot of videos I'll be doing today, so check them out. Youwinningcourt at gmail.com. And the first one we're going to start with is maybe the most important, and that's in the area of public education. And for openness, Trump is dead on the right track to doing away with the Federal Department of Education. Because you can look and search all you want in the six articles of the Constitution for the United States, 1787 to 1791, and you won't find anything out in there about education, not even in Washington, D.C., my prior hometown, because it doesn't exist, because we're supposed to have a federated Republican form of government of defined and limited powers. And that federal government does not have any authority to go into sovereign, independent states admitted into this union and try to tell them what to do. It doesn't work that way. Those racist framers, did a great job of setting up this constitution to ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. But with today's education, as you're going to find out, send me an email, by the way, youwinningcourt at gmail.com. Remember to tell your friends and get the word out. There's nothing remotely resembling effective teaching, especially of American history in today's schools. You don't get it. I didn't get it 60 odd years ago outside of Washington, D.C., for crying out loud. Much better education in that era, but not in this situation here. And all we learned, for example, about President Andrew Johnson was he was our worst president, and he was in eight. Black is white yet again. Johnson's at the top of the list, and you'll learn why, all the reasons for it. Send me an email. Youwinningcourt at gmail.com. And he was president during a lot of the Reconstruction era. And that's where most of our problems come from. And that's what we have to teach the people in the education, the teachers, to get out there and teach the real stuff and wake everybody up to what's going on. Because all you got, in today's mandatory public education system, our civil rights, due process of all, equal protection, transgender rights, and all this other bullshit. And now all that comes from, as you will learn, from the non-existent 14th Boer Amendment. And that amendment alone has changed the course of American history. You will learn a lot more about that and what to do with it and how to win your cases. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side. We're right, they're wrong, get over it. And oh, by the way, get your checkbooks out and be damn lucky that that's all you're doing here. Oh, it really is that bad. And that's the big deal because you're invoking that 14th Amendment. That's federal regional martial law rule, as the president knows right now, Trump. That's why he issued a couple of executive orders, one of them on day one, about birthright citizenship as commander in chief of the armed forces, because that citizenship is under complete control of the government in Washington, D.C., not the state. There are no states. And I can prove every bit of that, as you will learn. Send me an email, youwinningcourt at gmail.com. We have to get the correct education in there. And that's the good news. And the real good news is that parents might not be interested in their own lives anymore. A lot of them may have given up already. But they want their children to do well and their posterity to benefit, exactly like those racist framers who ordained and established this Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, which doesn't include Chase Bank, IBM, Microsoft, or any corporation like that. And once you understand that simple lesson, now you get my constitutional defense document package, very modestly priced, as you will learn. Send me an email, youwinningcourt at gmail.com. Doesn't matter who's on the other side. whether it's the local sheriff, whether it's the highway patrol, it just simply doesn't matter because none of them have standing in the judicial court. But we have the right to one of those from day one. As a matter of right, trial by jury according to the course of the common law, with a jury that can rule on the facts and the law. That's what we need to get back to, and in a big hurry. And it's there. And you also then have the right to habeas corpus, and as you'll learn, that's in a perpetual state of suspension right now, without any authority to do it. And what I've done there, by the way, I've got the biggest win in the history of the U.S. Supreme Court by recognizing that fact and getting them to recognize it. They didn't act officially in my Midwest case, but my friend and I was out there for, God, I was going went for what I thought would be a 3-week trip. It turned out to be almost 7 months. But we set an unopposed record, just like you can do in your case, and set all these issues up, and they never answer. We're right, they're wrong. Get over it. But the problem is they have the burden of proof on jurisdiction and venue, even if you don't challenge it. And the big deal there is that if we don't know if we're wrong, let alone why, how can we possibly consult and instruct our representatives or nominate and elect those who will make changes that we want? That completely does away with the fiction of law known as elections, and that's another order that Trump has issued as commander in chief of the armed forces on all federal elections. And that's correct because it's the only body politic they recognize, or what we call jus soli, subordinate, corporate, nay, dead entities who have no rights the de facto national socialist government is bound to respect. And that's what we have to get rid of in a hurry, and you're going to love being a part of the effort of doing that. You benefit yourselves, your children, and your posterity. How good is that? So they don't have to go through this anymore. And we're in the best window of opportunity that we've ever had. I'll be talking more about that in another video with the U.S. Supreme Court. For 150 years, they know almost exactly what I'm talking about right now. And they're finally acting like a judicial court. And that's where we get them. Because I can teach you how to get there and do it the correct way with what they call on the court an appropriate case. And that makes a lot of good things happen and in a hurry. That's how good this was back in the day, and it still is if you know what to do and how to do it. And we just eliminated, by the way, about 99.5% of state bar association attorneys. You see one of those in the quote-unquote courtroom, especially with black robes, they're not in a judicial court. But you haven't made any voluntary, knowing, and intelligent waiver of right, have you? How did this happen? That's what you'll learn. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And we start getting these issues on there and start setting unopposed records. That's when a lot of good things start to happen. And that's what I was put here to do. And, it's all I do in this lifetime. I've got a divine gift. I don't know how that happened, but I was put here to do this. And as you'll learn in other videos, I was put here on March 4th, 1857, mid-19th century. I don't know how I got where I am today. Have to ask Bill Gates and Elon Musk about that, I suppose. But I'm mid-19th century, and I think like it, and a lot like those framers did back in the day, 1787 to 1791. And then I can use that information to show you the power that you have and that you're supposed to have. It'll fit like a glove. Once you learn and teach your children, your posterity, get the word out there. That's what makes these bastards go away. And that's exactly what we want them to do and leave us alone. So that said, the video's running a little over long. I apologize for that. But send me an email for information, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. Tell your friends, get the word out. The sooner we start taking affirmative action, the quicker we get these bastards off are back. Thank you.